A very good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How are you doing from whatever place it is that you are tuned on to the Life Signatures Radio? I'm glad that you are alive and you're able to listen in. I'm glad that you've actually tuned in, and I'm glad that I know you are alive today. And I don't know what you're going through, how you're feeling today. I don't know if you're feeling some kind of hope or some hopelessness in your life. I gotta tell you something. I do believe that you are here on this face of the earth for a reason and for a purpose. If you were not needed, you would not have been born. So whatever place it is, whatever thing you're going through, whatever it is you're feeling, I'm just encouraging you that you are needed. We need you. Probably you need to go through whatever it is that you're going through. And at the end of the day, I'm telling you, you're going to look back and you're going to be thankful that you went through it. And now you're a better person, you're better off than when you started. This is a podcast which is daily. We talk about purpose, we talk about productivity, we talk about resilience on this podcast. And today we are going to bring to a close a very long series. We've been talking about overcoming self-deficiency. Today is the day that we bring that to a close. And I'm going to repeat a message that I already shared, but I just felt that it is okay for us to rub it in. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Self-deficiency is something that we need to learn to overcome. If you're a parent, I adjure you, I urge you, I ask you in a humble way to know and to notice that the very first place where self-deficiency attacks people is in the family. The way we interact with our children. I know they make us sometimes feel mad and so on and so forth. But the things we say and the environment that we surround them with, those environments and those things can easily cause them to feel self-deficient. And of ourselves, we know where we've come from. All these years, we know where we've come from. We know the things that have made us feel self-deficient. We should not visit the same things onto our children. Self-deficiency makes people to withdraw from life. People who could be kings. There's a story in the Bible of a guy who was anointed to be a judge. And being a judge was basically being a leader. And being a leader meant that you're the one who is leading the war or leading the soldiers to war. And invariably, victory will be handed to you because you are being backed by God. So there's a guy that a woman, a prophetess, told that this guy that you are the guy who was going to go out there. But he felt self-deficient. He was like, I want you to go with me. You know, what am I saying? I'm saying that sometimes these feelings of self-deficiency are not just feelings of low-born people. These feelings can be found even in highest forms of leadership, in highest offices of the land, and even across the world. You can have someone in the White House itself, but they feel deficient. And you will see it by the fruits. But we've got to learn to deal with self-deficiency, because if we don't, we're going to shrink back from life. We're not going to expend the potential that has been put inside of us. We're not going to realize who we really are. Because we are feeling self-deficient. Self-deficiency sometimes has these feelings that I don't belong. I am not needed. I don't deserve. I don't have the capability. I don't have the credentials to do this. And so we don't feel like we qualify. And there is something that we need to learn. Ladies and gentlemen, as long as we are human beings, we can always be qualified. And like I've said earlier on, you are alive today because we need you. This world needs you. It's not the other way around where you need the world. No, this world does need you. I've got to tell you this, that when you're feeling self-deficient, for the most part, a good percentage of self-deficiency is illusionary. It is not real. It is not real. It is those feelings, the interpretations, the facts could be there. Yeah, you might not be having the degree. Yeah, you might not be having the diploma. Yeah, you might not be having the wife or even the children. It is our interpretation of the reality and the circumstances under which we find ourselves that cause us to feel deficient. In other words, the interpretation is an illusion. The reality could be different. The people that you might feel that they don't feel you, or you feel like they don't need you, they could be needing you. The people that you might feel they don't respect you, they could be respecting you. Right? And you can be in a self-destruct mode with the illusion of self-deficiency. You feel people are against you, they are not. You feel people look down on you, they don't. You feel people don't love you, they do love you. It is just you who is feeling that. And that's why we've got to overcome this feeling. It's a feeling. Self-deficiency is a feeling. It is a big percentage of feeling, and we've got to overcome it. How do we overcome self-deficiency? I'm going to do a recap for you. Number one, you've got to reclaim your identity. It starts from there. Your identity is who you really are. Your identity should not be dictated by the circumstances you find yourself in. It should be not dictated by the environment you find yourself in. It should not be dictated by what you go through. It should not be dictated by the words that are spoken to you by people in authority. It should be dictated by who you really are. In other words, you should always know that you are not self-deficient, and always say that to yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only person who can reclaim their identity is the self. Nobody can do this for you. Of course, you can have help from one place or another. You can hear someone motivational speaking and you feel infused with power. But as long as you're not going to do it yourself, as long as you're not going to agree with yourself and speak out loud over yourself about your identity, the things that you're going through are always speaking. The environment you're living in might be an environment of poverty, and it is speaking to you that you'll never amount to anything unless you scratch that city and say, no, I'm the righteousness of God, I'm a child of the Most High God, I'm amounting to something good, I'm gonna count, my life counts, I matter, I am qualified, I am rich. Of course, affirmations and all that stuff. If you don't, these circumstances, these words are always speaking, negative words are always speaking against your identity. That's why reclaiming your identity, your self-identity, is your crucial step that you've got to do yourself. Number two, self-help. Do self-help. I mean, increase your capacity one way or another. Help yourself. Self-help is something very powerful because it puts you on a pedestal. It puts you on the driver's seat. It helps you to dive into that which you care about, that which matters to you. It helps you to increase your capacity and become a go-to person in an area that you love, an area that you're passionate about. So go into self-help. Increase your capacity. Don't just check out of life because the traditional education did not give you help. No, help yourself. Continue studying, continue researching, continue learning, continue increasing about yourself. Know much more about yourself. Number three, be a person who knows and deploys their purpose. Deploying of purpose, of course, purpose means that you are helping other people. At the end of the day, the idea of purpose is that you are impacting the society. You cannot impact society and still feel self-deficient. And then number 4, we talked about a person who is always taking action. Take action. There are different types of action. I'm going to revisit that today. The different types of action you can be able to take. But take action. You cannot shrink from society and expect to cure self-deficiency. Be a person who is always in motion, momentum, moving, action, progressing. Okay? When you shrink back, self-deficiency increases. Number 5, we've been talking about finishing. Be a person who is able to finish what you started, because the more you pile unfinished business, the more self-deficiency keeps coming unto you. Number 6 today, yesterday we talked about, what did we talk about yesterday? We talked about helping other people. Be the person who is going to help other people, especially even when you are in a situation where you feel self-deficient, you don't belong, and so on. We talked about helping other people materially, helping other people emotionally. Just the more you help other people, the more you don't have time to feel self-deficient about yourself. In fact, it does the opposite. Feelings of being needed, being helpful, being required on the face of the earth come back to you. Today I'm going to close by speaking on to something that I already talked about. The way we are going to overcome self-deficiency is to be crazy, to dare crazy things, to do mighty things that are crazy. Now, it is about risking. A quote that I've always had to share with you is always this, by Roosevelt: far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in the great twilight that neither knows victory nor defeat. Far much better it is. Years ago, I was stuck in a job that I had outgrown. 7 months after I got that particular job, I always knew that I was much, much, much better than I was. And whatever I was doing, whatever I was engaged in at that moment seemed so mundane, so discouraging. As in, waking up to go and do that stuff, it felt like I am much better than this. I used to tell myself I'm much better than this, but I was stuck. And the solution, I thought, was to apply for as many jobs as possible. And I doubled up my spiritual gymnastics by prayer and fasting so that a new opportunity can be able to come. Do you know how long it took for me to get out of that particular place? And do you know how long I got out of it? You know how I got out of it? I got out of that place, in my estimation, about 5 years later. And I did not get out of that place because there was an opportunity. I got out of that place by saying, I'm out. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I went for an interview and it looks promising. It's not bagged yet, but I'm out. And I actually got out. And I don't know how I went through. It was a risk. I don't know how I went through that particular season in my life, because having lost that job, I had no income, I had no food, I had no rent, and so on. I was in dire straits. But I can tell you this, that particular act of risking was the antidote, or was the medicine, or was the conduit through which I became, or am becoming, who I am. Because I think if I continued staying in that particular place, I don't know what would have happened to my mental health and very many other things. There are only 3 outcomes out of a dare, even as I come to a close. Number 1, failure. Perhaps this is what we are scared of when we're going on a dare. We do not want to confirm our self-deficiency. And so we want to stay put with what we think we have. So we stay put with that particular job, holding this 50-50 chance. The more I am holding on to it, the more I'm not confirming my self-deficiency. But failure, once you risk though, is much, much better than not trying, because it introduces you to who you really are. It gives you feedback on what you can do better next time. It gives you an opportunity to continue pushing on in life, at least for something better than being confirmed with this self-deficiency that you're having at this moment in time, but not risking. If I'm making sense, I know I'm making sense. In other words, you are in a losing position, but you don't want to let go of this losing position because you not have anything at the end of the day. It's better you lose it and you fail by trying, because when you don't have anything else, you will also always keep trying, because life and nature abhor a vacuum. Sooner or later, even through that failure, you will be a stronger person, a better person, because you struggle to get out of it. But the other outcome over there is, of course, success. You can always succeed. Those two. You can either succeed or you can fail. But the non-negotiable outcome, the third one over there, is growth. Whether you succeed or whether you fail, let me tell you, you will grow. You will grow when you do a dare, most definitely. There is no question about it. And when you do a dare, you will be dealing directly with those feelings of self-deficiency. There is no way someone is walking on a tightrope and they're feeling scared, or okay, they're feeling self-deficient. There's no way you're walking on the edge of a cliff and you're feeling self-deficient. You've no time to feel self-deficient. You know what's happening at that moment in time? You're thinking of survival. You are in a very heightened state. You're calling on all your mental faculties, all your physical faculties, all your spiritual faculties. They are all alert. They are all coalescing into helping you. So you cannot continue feeling self-deficient when you go on a dare. I know I already talked about that in a previous episode. So listen, we've come to the close of today's episode, and at the end of the day, we've also come to the close of today's series. This long series we've been talking about overcoming self-deficiency. I know today I've taken a bit of time because I was doing a recap, but that's just about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're feeling self-deficient, either one of those 7 things can help you. So just go back and listen to this episode. I've summarized those 7 things, and do any one of them consistently. And I tell you, you will continue overcoming self-deficiency. Maybe you might not overcome self-deficiency at once, but it's a process by process, a gradual process. You're becoming stronger, you're becoming better, you're knowing yourself much more, you're capacitating yourself, you are increasing your niche, you are increasing your power, you are increasing your forbearance, you're increasing your commitment, you're becoming a better human being by overcoming self-deficiency. Tomorrow we begin something else, I don't know what, but until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.